Now we are going to learn about the concept of encapsulation in object-oriented programming. So what is encapsulation? Encapsulation in Java or encapsulation in object-oriented programming is a process of wrapping the code and data together into a single unit. I'm sure that sometimes we go to the hospitals, they have given some capsules, tablets like this. So within that capsules, they put a lot of different medicines together, then they wrap them together, right? So same thing in encapsulation. So encapsulation is a process of wrapping the code and data together into a single unit. So what is the use of that one? Okay, we are going to put the data and the code together and wrapping them together. So what is the use? So the main use of this encapsulation is to make the data confidential. So if you want to make some data confidential, if you want to have some confidential data in your program, especially when it comes to the banking system, you need to keep some information secret, right, against unauthorized access. So in that case, we use the concept of encapsulation to make sure that the data is secured. So is the way to achieve the data hiding in Java, because other class will not able to access the data through the private data members. So in case if you want to restrict some part of the code from the parent class, you have to specify the data members or the fields with the access specifier called private. I'm sure that when I was talking about abstract, I told you it's not necessarily all the time you need to create the public data field. Sometimes you can even create the private data field. When you create the private data field, that information will not be accessed out of that class unless if you allow that data field to be accessed through the public data members of that particular class. So through that particular public member of that class, you can able to access them in the other part of the class. I hope I'm not confusing you. Let me give you this quick example so that you will be fine, right? So I'm going to open my text editor, go to file, I'm going to create a new project again. Let me call this one as an encapsulation. So click finish. So here is the project that I have created, encapsulation. Go to the source file, default package, right click, new Java class. So here I'm going to create a class. Let me call this one as an animal class. So because we were learning about this same example throughout this object-oriented concept. So that's the reason why I just want to stick with the same class. So here, let me call this one as a class animal. So what I'm going to do, so within this class animal, I'm going to create the fields. So fields, I would say string name. That's the first field. I'm sure that now you know I have created the data field. So this data field has got no access specifier, meaning by default is going to be a default access specifier. What does that mean? As long as this is a default access specifier, this data field can be accessed anywhere in this particular package. And then if I put public, again it can be accessed anywhere in the program. But if I make this one as a private, what does that mean? This particular data field can be accessed only within this class name called animal. In case if I create another class name called maybe bird, if you want to access this data member of this class animal name called string data type is equal to name, is it possible? It's not possible because of the access specifier that I have used them here as a private. But what is the solution? Let's say I really want to access this data field from this class animal into another class, though this is declared as a private. So does that mean that we will have no access at all? There is a way where still you can able to access this data member, though it's a private, but still there is a way that can be used. So what is the way? So what I'm going to do, let me create another one data field. I'm going to call them as a private again. I can call this one as a what can we say? We can say double as a data type because we never use double data type. So here I'm going to say average weight. These are all the two variables that I have declared with the private data function, private access specifier. So here what I'm going to do, let me say another one, private. I will say this one as an integer so that we can have different data types. Number of legs, no space. That's the reason why it's throwing an error. Now I have created 3 different data fields with the private access specifier. So now I'm going to create a method. So this method must be a public access specifier. Why? Because as I say that, what if I try to access the values of this data fields from this class animal to some other class, since they are private, right? So if you want to access these private data fields into another class, you need to have the public member function, or I would say public method, where you can have the access to this private data fields, so that we can call this public method into another class. We can still able to have the access for this private data field. So here I'm going to create public. I would say the method, what method what can we have? We can say string get name as a method. So within this method, what I'm going to get them is I'm going to return the name that belongs to this private. So so I'm going to create another method. This one has to be public. If you make this one as a private, then you will have no access to this name, the weight, and the number of legs, right? So this one is going to be the function double. Maybe we can call the name as get number of legs as the function. So inside, what I'm going to return is the average weight, right? Better you can just copy and paste. Again, I'm going to create another function with a public access specifier. This one is going to be an integer. I would say, this one is an average weight, right? It's not the leg. Get number of legs. So inside, what I'm going to return them is this number of legs. So these are all the three methods that belongs to this class animal, right? So since these methods are public, where this public method have the access to this private data fields of the same class, so what we can do, we can create a different class. We can straight away call this public method, because this public method have the access of this private data member, so that we can make use of these public methods to get the access to these private data members, right? So here I'm going to create, what can I do? I can say I'm going to create another method. So here I'm trying to get the method, right? So I'm trying to get a name. I'm trying to get the method of weight and the number of eggs. So these three, I would say getter method. Now I need to set the values, right? I need to set the value for the name. I need to set the value for the average weight. I need to set a value for the number of eggs. So let me say this one is a setter function, or setter method. So this setter method, I'm just going to have public, right? Then I would say void set name as a method. So inside, I'm going to set the name. So the name is a string data type. I'm going to pass the parameter as a name. So inside, what I need to do, I just have to pass the value. Let me say name as a value. What I'm going to do equals name. The name will be name. So same thing that I'm going to do for the get average method and those things. So what I'm going to do here, public void set average weight. So here, how to set average weight? You are going to pass the float as a parameter, double as a parameter here, then average weight, right? So inside, how to calculate the average weight? So average weight is going to be equals to this average weight. There is a spelling mistake here. Average weight is equal to average weight, right? Again, I'm going to create another method. I'm sure that you are getting me what I mean, right? So here I've set the method. Here I am trying to get the method. So for that, I need to set the values, right? So the values will be set using the setter method, public void. Then what is the next method? Set number of legs, right? So set number of legs. So inside is going to take the parameters, number of legs. I have used integer data type, integer. Then the value that I need to pass them here is number of, right? So inside flex will be get from, right? So now what do we need to do? We have to create the object. So within that object, we need to pass the value for this number of object. This name, we need to pass them there in the object creation in the main method. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create a main function. So here let me say I'm going to create a main function for the class. Let me create another class here. So class, I would call this one as a test animal. So within the class I'm going to have the main function. So within this main function, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the object for the class. What is the class? Animal is the class, right? So let me call this one new. Now what do I need to do? I need to pass the values for these parameters here, right? So first I have to pass the value for the name, I have to pass the value for the average weight, I have to pass the value for the number of eggs. So how can I do that? That one can be done. For example, what is the object? This is ANI is an object dot. Then which one am I going to pass them now? So let's say set name. There is a set name method. So here set name. So here I need to pass the name. So let's say the name is Dow. Okay. Then what I'm going to do next? Again animal dot. Then I have to say set average weight. So it has to be in the double. So let me say 2.2. Then animal dot. What is the next method? So next method I will say number of legs. So number of legs I would say that's a value because it's an integer. So it's showing me an error. So what's the error? Method number of legs in animal cannot be applied in the given types. Let me go up there. So we'll check that one later, right? So then from there, what I want to print them, let me say system.out.println. So inside what I want to print them here is, let's say I want to print the name. The name, where am I going to print the name from? Plus my, from that animal object dot get average weight, and then I just want to concatenate with, let me say kg. So this kg is going to be a string, then followed by what I want to print them is, here is a name, so get average name, actually maybe get name method, right? So what I want to print them is a name, so get name. So this is what I want to print. So there is no kg here. So if I want to print the kg, so average weight is going to be get average weight method, get average weight method. So I want to concatenate with a kg so that it can print the kilogram. Again, this one, instead of name, this one is going to be number of legs. So here it's just going to be, instead of get name, it's going to be any dot get method, get number of legs. So we don't have the get number of legs method. Oh, just the number of legs method. So here you can see the method name is number of legs. So let me just change this one as a get number of legs as well. So even here, instead of number of legs, I'm going to say any dot set. Oh, I didn't create a set method here. Oh, it's here, set number of legs. So let me copy, come here and paste. So inside you can pass 2 number of legs as the value. Yes, right. Here we are going to use get dot get number of legs. I think that's it, right? So what we are trying to do, in short, let me explain you so that you won't get lost. So what we are trying to do, encapsulation is a method where we are trying to protect the data with the help of this private access specifier. So it's protected. If you want to access this one out of the main class, so this is a different class, right? Class test is a different class. We are trying to access the private data members of this class animal, the private data members, which is nothing but this string name, these are private, to out of the class. In that case, what you need to do, you have to create the public method in the same class where you have the private data members, such as like string get name. This is like a get method, name and average, so that it is going to return the name and then average weight and the number of legs, right? So here we need to pass the value. So it's going to return the number of legs. Where is it going to return the number of legs from? From here is the place where we are going to set the method. So string name. So where are we going to pass the value for the name? So though okay, we are saying that name. So where is the name actually? So we need to pass the names here in the object. So dow is a name. So this name will be assigned to this parameter name here. So this name will be dow. But when I assign that dow to this name, where is this name comes from? This return. So this name is from the return statement. This name is a parameter. So but the value for the parameter is here in the object, right? So if you want to access the value from this object to this parameter, where to this parameter, this is when we use this as a keyword. So you have to use this dot. So what does that mean? This specifies that particular object. So that name that you pass them here, that will be referred with the help of this keyword. So even here you have to use this as a keyword. So in case if you don't use this as a keyword, what will happen? Even if you pass the value here, it's not going to be printed because that one will not be known by the compiler. To make the compiler know this value that I am passing them here, that is the value for this variable name. So that is the reason why we are using this as a keyword. So when I save and run, you would see the result saying name is dow, average weight is 2.2 kg, number of legs is 2. So whatever the values that we are passing them here as an argument here, so it needs to be collected in this parameter with a variable name called name. So that is the reason why we are using this. In case if I don't use this here, let's say I'm removing this here. Let me save and run again. You see name is now, because though I have passed the value as dow here for the name of the bird, here is not getting that value because I have not used the keyword as this. This specifies that particular object that we have created with the value. So using this is, I'm sure that you have already come across with this keyword even in other programming, object-oriented programming. This specifies that particular object. So if you don't specify this, whatever the value that you pass them here is not going to be considered. Instead is just going to print them as a now. That is the reason why I have used this. So let's come back to the business. Encapsulation in object-oriented programming is make sure that the data is protected unless if you give them the access. So these data are protected only that we have give them the access through this public method, because you cannot just, let's say if there is no these methods, let's say there is no these public methods, let me cut, right? So these are private, right? So now if you want to access these values like string name, let's say even here I'm just going to delete, right? So here I've created the object for this class, right? So there is an error, not necessarily, okay, the error has gone. Now this is simple, right? So what I have them here is a private data member. So here what I'm going to do now, ani dot, let's say I want to assign the values for this one. So here what I'm going to do, before creating the object, so even here let me create a value is equals to Ranjan. So this is a data member, this is a private data member. What if I want to access this private data member into this class? I'm sure that in the previous example I have showed you how to access the value, right? So here I'm going to say system dot out dot println. So in case if I want to access that private data member here, so what do I need to do? So I have to do ani dot, I usually call that name, right? So as soon as when I put name here, there is an error saying name has a private access in animal. In case if this one is not a private, let me say I'm going to remove the private. The array has gone. Let me save and run. It's print Ranjan as a value, but as soon as I change this one to private, there is an error here. There is a big fat error, meaning I'm not allowed to have the access of this data because this is a private. So in case if I want to have access of this private, what do I need to do? That is the reason why I have created those methods with a public keyword. So that is the reason why I have created these public methods in order to get the access of these private data members, so that I can able to access those values here in the another class. So this is how encapsulation would work. I hope everything was clear up to now, but in case if you have got any questions, you are free to ask me through comment section. Thank you so much. Have a good day.